Hello everybody, this is Yamalal bringing you my second Magic the Gathering deck tech featuring Kalitas, Traitor of Ghet. This was one of my first decks I ever made and was well before Edgar Markov was a thing. Kalitas is a 2 and 2 black 3/4 legendary vampire warrior. I see a lot of people who use this commander to head zombie decks due to him making zombie tokens, but I believe this is the best mono black vampire to head the tribe. I used to run Unwound, the Rune Sage, as the general, but I think Kalitas has more to offer. Unwound generally gets hated on quickly because he keeps destroying our opponent's non-vampires, but it also negatively affects the non-vampires' free run, such as Cryptghast and Erebos. This does not mean that I do not include him in the deck, though. Kalitas can be cast for 1 mana less, hates on our opponent's graveyards while filling our boards with tokens. We could also use it to go Voltron with its last ability if that's all we can do. This deck tries to be aggressive with life gain and flying attributes, along with a couple combos. I hope you all like the video. Since we are in mono black, we don't have any fantastic ways to get more mana, but here are some that I've included. Expedition Map can search for any land. Wayfarer's Bauble, Myriad Landscape, and Liliana Dark Realms all search for our swamps. Soul Ring, Cryptghast, and Nirkana Revenant double our swamps, and Cage Sun adds additional mana to each land we tap, plus has an Anthem. Urza's Incubator for the mana cost reduction. Pawn of Ulamog to create tokens we can sacrifice for 1 colorless. Nykthos to give us mana equal to our devotion to black. Crypto Vagadim gives us mana for each black creature in our graveyard. Cabal Stronghold adds a cheap alternative to Cabal Coffers, can produce a lot of mana later on in the game. And lastly, Everglades. Next we have all of our lords and creatures that give +1/+1 counters. Adaptive Automaton, Thirsting Bloodlord, and Bad Moon all give +1/+1 to my creatures. Ascendant Evercard does the same thing while also giving our opponent's creatures -1/-1 that are not black. Same with Captivating Vampire, but he can steal our opponent's creatures. Vampire Nocturnus is similar, but the buff is +2/+1 and flying if the top of our deck is black. Door of Destinies gives +1/+1 for each creature we play after it is on the field. Durana Liberator of Malkir gives +1/+1 to all our attackers when she attacks. Necropolis Regnant does something similar where a creature hits, they get +1/+1. Bloodlord of Basgoth gives Bloodthirst 3 when our opponent does dealt damage. And Cordial Vampire gives +1/+1 to all our vampires when a creature dies. We only run a few recursion cards in the deck. Bloodline Necromancer and Animate Dead can return any vampire to the field from the grave. Rise of the Dark Realm puts all creatures from all graveyards onto our side. Recover puts a creature from the grave to our hand and draws us a card. And Witch's Cottage puts a creature from our grave on top of our deck. Here we have all the removal cards. Damnation and Decree of Pain are our main board sweepers, and Decree of Pain is also great for card draw. Royal Assassin, Urge to Feed, Go for the Throat, Malicious Eviction, Drain Life, and 10 Vills of Corruption are all spot removal, while the latter two also gain us life. Dark Imposter is also spot removal, but he has all the activated abilities of the creature he removes. Witcher of Malakir makes our opponent sack a creature when one of ours is put into the grave. Withering Boon because nobody expects the black counterspell, and Dash Hope sucks in Commander. Blast Stone helps us destroy pesky non-land, non-creature spells black has trouble removing. Lastly, Vampire Hexmage for getting rid of Planeswalkers or any other counters on the board. For the draw cards in the deck, we start off with Phyrexian Arena, which gives us an extra draw each turn. Blood Tracker draws us a card for each +1/+1 counter on it, and we can put some on with life and mana. Champion of Dusk draws us cards for each vampire we control. Erebos lets us draw for 2 mana and 2 life, and doesn't let our opponents gain life. Knight's Whisper and Read the Bones are both draw 2 spells. Polluted Mire can be cycled, and Castle Locked Thwain can draw us a card for 3 mana. Keeping with the theme of vampires, we have all the ways to gain life. Blood Tribute halves an opponent's health and we gain it. Elixir of Immortality gains us 5 health and puts our graveyard back into our deck. Calastria Highborn drains somebody for 2 when a vampire we control dies and we pay black. Soren's Vengeance drains 10 from an opponent. Soren Markov is the main vampire planeswalker. His +2 drains a target for 2. His -3 puts an opponent's life at 10, useful for an easy finish. Lastly, his -7 lets us control an opponent on their next turn. It could be good, but we probably won't hit it often, especially since our -3 is potentially better. We play Exquisite Blood and Sanguine Bond in the deck for a 2-card combo. Exquisite Blood gains us life when our opponent loses life, while Sanguine Bond hits our opponent whenever we gain life. I think it thematically works in a vampire deck, plus we have a lot of lifelinkers or ways to gain life. A few token generators are in the deck. Cradle of Accursed can be sacked for a 2/2 zombie. Mutavault can become a 2/2 vampire for 1 generic. Spawning Pool can become a 1/1 that can be regenerated. Bloodline Keeper can make 2/2 vampires with flying on a tap and transforms when we have 5 or more vampires. He then becomes a Lord that gives +2/+2, still keeping the token ability from before. This column has all the rest of the vampire creatures. Gifted Aetherborn has Death Touch and Lifelink. Vampire Nighthawk has Flying, Death Touch, and Lifelink. Yaheni Undying Partisan has Haste and gets +1/+1 when an opponent's creature dies and can become indestructible. Miri the Cursed has Flying, First Strike, Haste, and gets +1/+1 counters when she deals combat damage. The Haunt of Hightower has Flying and Lifelink. When it attacks, the defender discards a card, and when a card goes to the opponent's grave, this card gets +1/+1. And Soren Impervious Bloodlord is a planeswalker that can, with his +1, he gives a creature Death Touch and Lifelink, and a vampire +1/+1 counter. His other +1 lets us sack a vampire to drain 3 from a target, and his -3 lets us put a vampire from our hand onto the field. Here we have all the equipment and tutors. We only play 2 equipments, and they are Blade of the Blood Chief, which gives the equipped vampire +2/+2 if a creature goes to the grave. Lash Wraith gives the equipped creature +1/+1 for each swamp we control, and it can be equipped for 0 mana if we play 4 life. For the tutors we run 4. Beseech the Queen looks for a card with converted mana less than the number of lands we have to our hand, and it can be played for 3 black. Diabolic Tutor searches for anything to our hand for 4 mana. Demonic Tutor searches anything to our hand for 2 mana. And because it's a vampire deck, Rampage Tutor searches anything to the top of our deck for 1 mana. Lastly, the rest of the non-lands and lands in our deck. Arcane Lighthouse lets us target our opponent's things by removing Hexproof and Shroud. Bojuka Block to remove a graveyard. Cavern of Souls to let the creatures we play with its mana not be countered. Shizo Death Store Health gives one of our legends Fear for a turn. Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth to make all of our lands additionally swamps. And Painful Quandary helps us put pressure and finish our opponents by continuously draining or making them discard. Lastly, Sudden Spoiling makes all creatures target opponent controls 0/2 with no abilities until end turn with Split Second. Finally, I have put some creatures in the sideboard that I think could go in the deck, but I do not think they are great enough for whatever reason. Bloodcast I have tried to put a few times into my deck, but I can't block, and since it's commander, it is harder for an opponent to be lower than 10 life. Defiant Bloodlord Has the effect of Sanguine Bond, so if you want another copy of it, then it might be good. It's also a vampire, so it might be better, although it costs more mana. Drana Calastria Bloodchief. It's a weird removal type ability, but it costs as much mana as the creature's toughness plus 2. Kalitas Bloodchief of Ghet costs 7 mana, but his destroy ability is alright. Sanctum Seeker doesn't deal much damage with its effect and has no keywords. Vampire of the Dire Moon doesn't really bring much as a 1/1. Gifted Eighth Opponent is basically the same thing for 2 mana and is at 2/3. Sorin Vampire Lord is the Planeswalker deck head card, which doesn't make him too good. +2/+0 is not a great +1, and he costs 6 mana. Lastly, the new Erebos, Blackhearted. I feel like the first Erebos is less restrictive on when you can draw the card, but this could be run alongside the other one. Thank you all for watching. Everybody, please leave a comment letting me know how you like the format of the video, how you think the deck is, and any other feedback you might have. See you in the next one.